Rising. Good morning. Got a little bit of the sun in my face. Good morning. Okay, I'm going to get started. Happy Sunday. So, I'm going to make this even shorter than I usually keep this about a half an hour, the morning chat, but I know it's a holiday weekend and I know I am heading off to church soon, and many of you are going to be going to your places of worship or other things you have to do. So, first of all, can you hear me okay? Just say yes or no if you can hear me okay, because otherwise I'll put on my headphones. Just give me a yes if you can hear me okay before I start. Yes or no, rather. Okay, awesome. So, this morning's topic, I think I'm gonna have to do like a probably a full live on this because it came up. I was not gonna touch this because I know there's a lot to unpack when we talk about addictions, because there's so many different types of addictions. But it really, this morning is really just for us to always think and look at things from a different perspective, and also to do a self check, do a self assessment. Is this an area in my life that I need to pay attention to? So, this is why I do the morning chats for the soul, because I really want us to look at the various aspects of our soul, our consciousness, especially the subconscious, where a lot of things are kind of buried and hidden, but yet it's out front every single day of our lives, and we don't even realize it, that it's really what's driving a lot of our behavior and decisions and even our lives. So it's bringing these things to the forefront, and how it's affecting our emotions and just everything that we do. And so this is why it's morning chat for the soul, because I want us to be aware so that we can heal it and do something about it, whatever it is. So, first of all, I'm Phoenix Love of a Healer's Haven Holistic Health and Wellness Solutions. For those of you who are new to the community, welcome and thank you for being here. This is Morning Chat for the Soul, and today's topic is about, do you need to release an addiction or addictions, right? And when we talk about addictions, it is Grand Rising, sister. Thank you for joining. When we talk about addictions, I am talking about though that cycle of a behavior or a habit that we have that we know is unhealthy, and we are having it has moved into a place or a zone that it is not only unhealthy, but we are having difficulties getting rid of it or releasing it or stopping it. Now, when we have bad habits, just because, and I've spoken about this many times, because of the subconscious mind and just the way we're wired, from a physiological or psychological, biochemical standpoint, it's very difficult to break bad habits just on its own. But when it moves into the realm of addictions, then it becomes something that, from a psychological standpoint, a behavioral standpoint, that we sometimes require assistance with, and professional assistance, where, whether it's if it's substance abuse or alcohol, then going into rehabs, detoxing. There's a whole process that has to go into play, which I'm not going to really go into that layers of that. But what I do want to speak about is the cycle of it, which is the cravings, then going ahead and fixing it, getting a fix. And this is all kinds of addictions, because it's the same cycle, it's the same process. affecting the same part of our brain, and it's driven by the same part of our brain. It's driven by the same impulses. So we have the cravings, and then we say, okay, let me go and fix it, go and get whatever it is that we're craving, and then we want, time goes by, we want more of it, and then it becomes this cycle because the reward system is compromised. We have an internal reward system that when you have an addiction to something, it is no longer functioning at a normal rate. It's no longer functioning the way it's designed to function. Just like if we have a cheat day, we're on a diet, and we say, okay, we're going to go and have that, I don't know, little small thing of Haagen-Dazs or something, whatever. And we go get it, and we're satisfied, and we're like, yay, and then we look forward to the next time, but we don't feel like we have to now go eat a whole pint or 2 pints of Haagen-Dazs and keep on and keep going. So that's a normal reward system that's functioning properly. What happens with addictions, it moves out of that zone. So whether it's an addiction, like I said, to the extreme of like alcohol and drugs, substances, or it's an addiction to food, or it's an addiction to sex, or it's an addiction to people. And this is what I'm saying, is that we have to understand that it all works from the same place. So sometimes it requires very similar interventions. And that's really what I want to stress, that take an assessment to find out, is there anything that we were talking about this whole month of May, releasing the weight. And the weight, like I said, can show up in many different ways, especially from a psychological and the emotional standpoint and mental standpoint. What are we carrying around that no longer serves us? What is impeding on our functioning at this point, because it is such a burden and such a weight on us that it's keeping us stuck, or it's keeping us stagnant. It's keeping us from achieving our goals. It's keeping us from showing up as our best every single day. That's when you have to say, okay, this may be something a little deeper than just a bad habit. Okay, so that's where it moves into a zone of addictions, when that reward system is no longer functioning the right way, and we require more and more and more of it, whatever it is. So let me just talk a little bit more about addiction to people, and not just people, because when we have an addiction, let me step back for a second. When we have an addiction, what is it that we're really trying to solve, or what unmet need are we trying to fulfill? Because that's where addictions grow out of. Okay, we are trying to fulfill an unmet need, emotionally and psychologically. There's something that we did not get, whether it was in our childhood or in a certain relationship, or just on a day-to-day basis that we're not getting, that we start to go and fulfill it with things, with substances, with people, with behaviors. So this is where addictions start, because there's something we are missing, or we feel that we're missing, and we go and we try to fulfill it, fill that void, that empty feeling, with these other things, with sex, with cigarettes, with video games, with social media. Okay, and that's a whole topic on its own, the addiction to social media, and the high that comes from likes and loves and responses. That's a whole topic on. I could do a whole live on that alone, because what's happening now is becoming such an issue, is that they are actually going out and doing research on it now. So there's actually data about social media addiction and the addiction to the high. And again, it's the same cycle. People are going, that reward system is broken because you want more, you're going to do more. And we see it all the time. People are posting all types of outlandish and outrageous things. They're putting all their business out on social media just so they can get likes. These videos where it's violent videos, sexual videos, things that are just, we wouldn't even thought about putting all our business out there like that years ago. Now everybody's doing, okay, it's not even about the social cause. It's not even about, oh, let me help somebody. It's not even about the information anymore. It's like, can I get this out first so they can say it's me that posted it? and I get the follows and I get the viral video, and it does something to me. It gives me that high that I need. So now I got to take it up a notch. It wasn't enough to, put the video out about someone, having an argument in the street. Now I got to post something where somebody's actually fighting. Oh, that went viral. So now I got to post somebody actually got stabbed. So it just goes to the next level. Or it's that young girl that says, okay, I got a couple of likes because I showed a little cleavage. So what if I go in and I'm in my full underwear and I show some pictures now on Instagram? Again, the reward system starts to get compromised, or it doesn't work anymore. So now we got to keep taking it up a notch. And the cravings to get more and more of the attention, it's the same cycle. The technology addiction is extremely, extremely dangerous at this point, because there's so many young people, I'm just going to talk about young people, that's all they do, because they grew up, the millennials and the younger ones, they grew up in this information age. So this is the norm for them. So this message is not only for, you, the purpose-driven leaders in this group, the holistic leaders in this group, but also to talk to your family, your children, because technology addiction, social media addiction is out of control right now. And I'm going to start pulling some data, because like I said, they're doing more and more research on it. So even us as adults, I know there's times, because I do this for my business and everything, my platform. So I've posted and I'm putting and I'm constantly on, and I said, boy, my whole day has gotten eaten up. And I didn't do half of the things on my to-do list because I'm on social media. Now, yes, I have to do some of it because this is part of my business. But it can be, like I said, it can be very difficult to put this device down. And we've all been guilty of it, right? So it's like, what is it that we need to really assess and take a step back and say, what is it that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis that may slightly even resemble an addiction? If it's not social media, if it's not technology, if it's not drinking, if it's not smoking cigarettes, is it food? Many of us could have food addictions. Do we find ourselves, binging after 9 o'clock? And we know that's not healthy for us. Sugar addiction, I've spoken about that many times. We did our sugar detox, and we may need to do another one. Sugar addiction is a challenge for most of us, because why? Sugar is in probably about 90% of the foods that we consume. Foods, drinks, everything. So addiction is real, and I really just wanted to come on, because I wasn't going to make this a long message, but really just an awareness message. Are there addictions or addictive behavior that we need to release? Because the basis of it, like I said, is fulfilling an unmet need, psychological, emotional need, and then also this whole idea of detachment. Because part of that cycle is that you have pretty much taken on that you are attached in some way to whatever it is that you're addicted to. You have consumed this thing or relationship with people or whatever it is you're addicted to so much that it has become a part of who you are. It has become a part of your identity. And like anything that has become part of our identity, it's very hard for us to separate from it, because we think that's who we are. So a part of the healing has to do with detachment, because you have attached to this thing or this person. And detachment is not easy. It's a process. It's a process just like anything else that we need to heal from. So to close out, I'm going to read something about detachment. So it says, detachment is experiencing our feelings without allowing them to control us. We step back and look at things objectively. We let go and accept what we cannot change. We detach from others' choices, knowing that their spiritual work is not ours to do. We choose how we will act rather than just reacting. We step away from harmful cravings, and detachment is a deep breath of peace and patience in response to unexpected anger. We can listen without losing ourselves, and with detachment, we see our mistakes, honestly make amends, and start afresh. Detachment allows us to be in the world but not of it. It frees us to lead our lives with grace. I thought that was an excellent summary of attachment, and especially in relation to, just waving at y'all that joined us. Grand Rising, everyone. Thank you for joining. Especially in relation to addictions. I'm going to go back. There was one statement. I just want to repeat that because I thought it was really powerful. It says, we detach from others' choices, knowing that their spiritual work is not ours to do. We choose how we will act rather than just reacting. That is so true. If everybody took the time, this is why I have this community, this is why I have my platforms, online, offline, this is why I do the work I do. Everybody has to do their own spiritual work, their own spiritual journey, right? So what happens sometimes, especially when we're talking about substance abuse addiction and alcohol addiction, but even with, food addiction, sex addiction, sometimes there's codependent relationships. And, we, as the people we are, helpers and healers and lovers of other soul as well as our soul, hopefully, we can sometimes be the enabler. We call ourselves helping and supporting, but sometimes it can look like it can show up as enabling people that have addictions. So just be careful that you're also not in that role. If you're not struggling with addiction yourself, that you are not enabling someone, a family member, a loved one, a friend, a client. Because again, many of us are therapists, clinicians, counselors, even substance abuse counselors. Let's just make sure that we are staying in our ethical role. Those of us that are, in those professional roles of helping people that have addictions, that we're staying in that role ethically, and that there's no countertransference, and certainly no enabling, okay? Because it's very easy to get caught up, and that's where that attachment is, whether it's ourselves or whether it's somebody else. They have their own journey. They have their own spiritual work to do. They have their own road to recovery, okay? But it goes a lot deeper than recovery, like I said. It requires a true healing process and allowing that time and the patience. Because I love they talked about patience with yourself or patience with the other person. But it also requires you stepping back as the helper, the healer, the supporter, and allowing them to do their work. Okay? And that wasn't even going to be a part of my message, but when I read that, I said, yeah, that's true. Just me, and I'm always transparent, just coming from a family that had many of my relatives that was on different substances and alcoholism and addictions. So I know it from a personal standpoint, I know it from a professional standpoint. So it's something I can speak on with definitely some expertise. So I just want to encourage you to today, and even this week, just step back and just say, do an assessment, right? Do an assessment. Really look at, is there an addiction that I need to release? Especially when it comes to behaviors and other people. Because sometimes we don't look at that, it's an addiction. But sometimes it isn't an addiction. Sometimes we are addicted to just wanting to control things or control people. Sometimes we are addicted to pleasing, people pleasing. These are some things that behaviors and habits that we need to really closely examine that are we having such a difficulty breaking this cycle because we are addicted to it. It does fulfill something in us. Okay? So that's really it. That's what I have. And, I thought, not even I thought, it was put in my spirit. It's an important message because this whole month of May, we have been talking about releasing the weight. And this can definitely be weight. This can definitely be a burden on our soul and a burden on our spirit. And it's just getting in the way of us achieving what we want to achieve. So take stock. Take stock. Look at it. Is there something I need to release? I will be posting some information on addictions and different types of addictions and some solutions. Of course, I'm always going to post solutions and tips and strategies. And if you have things to share, please do post it. Just use the appropriate hashtags, either hashtag purpose, hashtag green. And everyone have an amazing, amazing, blessed day. Enjoy this beautiful weather that we're having. And we'll talk soon. Peace.